Hello, it's me, Timo. It's been a while, I'm sorry, I've been very busy and I didn't have the time to make more SOTA videos. They take ages to do. But I'm promising now I'm going to make more SOTA videos as soon as I have more time on my hands. But for now, I can only make short videos. And this is going to be a short video, I hope. I always say it's going to be short and then it's going to take 20 or 30 minutes. Okay, what I'm going to show you today is, well, because of Stephen Brown. He's made a video about this pen a couple of weeks ago. You might recognize it right away. His pen had chrome trimmings. This one does have gold trimmings. Now you can see the nice typical clip. And you probably already know this is a Kaweco pen, especially a Kaweco Dia 2. A large pen for Shaquille O'Neal hands, whatever. You can see it's almost as large as a Safari, which is the small pen, of course. And yeah, what I am going to show you is the predecessor, the Kaweco Dia 2's predecessor, which is the original Kaweco Dia. And you might see some similarities right away. And you should notice one difference right away. If you didn't, this will show you. The Kaweco Dia is a very small pen, really, really small and thin. And the Kaweco Dia 2 is a grown-up, decent size fountain pen. So it's kind of weird. Having such a small pen being the predecessor of this one, it seems kind of wrong, but there are some similarities, some, not very many. Let's have a closer look at the caps. You can see the clip has the same shape, of course. There's the Kaweco logo on top. There are two gold rings in some versions. Here's one original Dia without the gold rings. I don't know, maybe there once were gold rings, but I have no idea how someone would remove them without hurting the cap. So I suppose there have never been gold rings on this cap. The general shape is similar, it's a cigar shape, but while the Kaweco Dia 2 has a flat and the original Dias taper out. And this is because the original Dia fountain pen is a piston filler, while the Dia 2 is a cartridge converter. And this piston filler has this blind cap you can take off, and there's the piston turning knob. And there's one little secret about this pen. Well, if you buy one of these pens, odds are that the piston, the actual piston, is made of cork, of real cork, and cork shrinks over time. And it might not work. Usually if you get these on eBay, if they're not restored, you can't pull up ink because the piston is shrunk and there's no vacuum to be produced anymore. So what you have to do is to exchange the old cork with a new one. All you need is a little bit of sandpaper, a knife, a bottle of wine, and that's pretty much it. And you need one tiny little piece of knowledge, and that is to get the piston out of this pen. You know, with many piston fillers, you just turn the piston turning knob until the end, and then you just turn it some more and it comes off. This won't work with this pen. Here you see the piston turning knob. Here are the threads for the cap. And here is a groove. You might see, I hope you do. And this 2-3 millimeter long bit here between this groove and yeah, the thread up there is not part of the barrel. It is part of the piston mechanism. And to remove the piston, all you have to do is to grab this bit, this small bit, and the barrel, and just open it. Yeah, unscrew it and pull everything out. This will not work with bare hands, bare fingers. There's just too little space. You will need some silicone pliers or special pliers for that, or at least some gripping material that helps you grip this small part, this small bit, while you turn the barrel. With the fingers alone, I can try. You can see I can't move it. I can't move it. This leads many people to think that this part is not to be moved, and there's another trick to remove the piston, but it isn't. Just this upper part. Turn it, remove the whole piston, replace the piston cork, and the pen will work again. By the way, you might, if you are replacing the piston cork anyway, you might clean the ink window, the ink view window. I hope you can see it. It is really, really barely visible. In this case, it's dark green, like a wine bottle. Yeah, it is here. Yeah, you probably can't see it in the video. Don't overdo it. You're not going to hurt the pen, but it's not going to be a clear ink view window. It's really hard to see through this window, but when you hold the pen against the light, you can see how much ink there's still in it. Which is nice, because the Dia 2 doesn't have such a thing. It is just plain resin, whatever, I don't know what this is. There's no ink view window on the number 2, which doesn't really matter, because you can just carry cartridges with you and simply replace the converter, the cartridge, within seconds, while you might not always have a bottle of ink with you. Okay, of the old Dia, there are different versions. I don't know how many. I have 2 of them, and both are very different. No, not very different, but they are different. You're going to see it in... So, these are the models 802 and 803. Oh gosh. Okay, you might notice anyway, this one is a little bit shorter than the other one. It's also thinner, and by the way, thick and thin, this is something I should have shown you. This is a Kaweco Sport in comparison. If you kept these both pens, they're still it's the same difference in size. But gosh, that doesn't matter. Okay, so the Kaweco Sport is a little bit smaller. It is, definitely. But as you can see, the section of the Sport is a lot thicker. So the Kaweco Dia, the original Dia, feels like a smaller pen, a lot smaller pen than the Kaweco Sport. Okay, back to the 2 different Kaweco Dia. Okay, we have one that's smaller, one that's a bit larger. It's not much of a difference, maybe 2 millimeters. One has the golden rings, one doesn't. It's a completely different material. You can see, for example, which one is it? Yeah, you can see the cap here is not really round, and this is not a straight line anymore. This is because I keep these pens in a case, in a case like, just in case, in a case like this one, and the strap, which is very soft, the strap pushes onto the cap, and it deformed the cap. Really, just a tiny little bit of pressure over a longer period of time will deform this pen, because this pen is made of rubber, and not the typical hard rubber you would expect. It is a rather soft rubber. I have erasers that are almost as hard as this pen. You can squeeze the cap a bit. It's really weird. It's a really soft material. I like it a lot. It feels good, but it's so very uncommon and unusual. I've never had a pen like this. The other one, on the other hand, has some, I don't know, I think it's resin, but pretty much standard resin, very hard material. But it feels like a completely different pen when you hold them. It's really nice. Anyway, both pens are really, really fantastic. I like them both very much, and if you get one on eBay, it doesn't matter which one you take, they are both great. You might, of course, care about which nib to get. These two have very different nibs, I'm going to show you right now. One of these has a, oh, the section is different as well. It's interesting. One has a gold nib, a fine nib. The other one has a steel nib, and it is an oblique broad nib. 14 karat gold, stainless steel. By the way, I just noticed the feeds are not exactly the same. They have a slightly different shape. The section length is different. The ink window on this one is about 40-50% longer than on this one. One of these pens is thicker than the other. Okay, one has this gold stuff, the other doesn't, but that might have just happened over time. It's very interesting how two pens that are supposed to be the same model can be so different. One is the model 802, this is this one. The other one is the model 803, which is supposed to be the younger one, 802, 803. Slight differences, but more differences than you would expect. Anyhow, both extremely nice pens. I really love these pens, and you can get them for, as we say in Germany, for an apple and an egg. Very, very cheap. Okay, just looking at these, of course they are nice pens, they look nice, yeah, but this is not why I find them so great. I really like them because of the way they perform, and that is what we are going to do next. Actually, what I'm going to do next. I'm going to make a writing sample, and then you shall see why I love these pens so much. See you in a second. Alright, here I am in the writing sample room where it's so cold I even had to put on some pants. Let's have another look at these two. Very nice Kaweco Dia. The obvious difference is this one is very clean and shiny, this one is kind of dirty, but I like it like that, I really do. I'm not going to clean this one. Both very nice pens. I am going to start the writing sample with the gold nib and not, wait a second, with the steel nib. Okay, on the left side we do have the gold nib, 14 karat, fine. And on the right side we do have a stainless steel nib, oblique broad. Okay, oh, that's the wrong cap. Oh, never mind. We have a, and I have to be very careful now, Kaweco 803F with a fine nib, of course, and this is a vintage 14 karat gold nib. It's a bit difficult to write with this pen for one reason that I'm going to explain in a second. But first let me post this pen because it's a bit small on posted. But posted it is very nice. Okay. So the display is not working anymore, doesn't matter. Can I write with this pen? Oh, never mind. I'm not kidding. This is a very smooth pen. There is almost no feedback, and the reason for me why I'm writing this slowly and insecure is because if I write normally, this is what happens. you wouldn't call this a fine nib anymore, would you? Why? Because look at that. With only really very little pressure, I'm getting some really nice line variation. The pressure I'm applying right now is about the minimum pressure to get a tiny bit of line variation from a nudeless Ahab. It's really difficult not to flex this pen, and it's fantastic. I really love it. The feed is made for this, which means whatever you do, however fast you're going to write. I'm not a fast writer, so I'm just doing this. The feed will keep up, and you will have a constant, permanent, nice flow in this rather wettish pen. Isn't this nice? 3, 2, 1. Okay, it is reasonably wet. It is rather wet, pretty much on the wet side. It's not the wettest pen I've ever had, but it's pretty wet. When pens are too wet, it's kind of difficult anyway. Okay, yeah. That's, oh, look at that. The ink, wow, amazing. I love this pen, I really do. Enough about this one, let's get to the other one. Is there still ink, or do I have it in? I think it's just enough ink in there. The other pen I have here has a stainless steel nib. What can you expect from a stainless steel nib? It definitely is smooth. This is the what am I doing? Never mind. 802 oblique broad nib. And as you can see, there's not enough ink. Yeah, I have to ink this. Just give me a second. Well, as you can see, it is much easier to write quickly with this pen, which is because it's not flexing, it's not giving in as easily as the other pen. Okay, let's try again with more Florida blue, or blue Serenité, whatever you prefer. By the way, the barrels here don't hold that much. I mean, it's a very thin pen, so I think the piston holds less than a milliliter. This pen is also very smooth. Yeah. Can you hear that? There is some feedback, not much though. It is, as I said, it is really smooth, but not as smooth as the gold nib. Okay, feed, without any question, absolutely possible to write very fast, very quickly with this pen. Line variation, of course you can get line variation, because this is an oblique pen and italic nib. There is some automatic line variation between. And it's a bit sharp. It's not the sharpest, crispest nib here, but it is reasonably crisp. Well, so you do have some line variation. Horizontal lines are thin, vertical lines are thicker, and that's just the way these nibs work. Wait a moment. But there's more. Can you see that? It's amazing, isn't it? Holy mackerel of the deepest pond. There is more. There's more than the usual oblique nib line variation. In addition to this normal effect, you do have a flexi nib. This is stainless steel. It's not as easily flexed as the gold nib, but it's working pretty well, I think. By the way, you can see this is a very wet nib. Let's make the test. It's a bit unfair because in this direction, this is thin lines. It's hard to get an even patch, but it's working. 3, 2, 1, zoom. Okay, not so bad. But actually, of course, the pen is much wetter when doing this, what usually produces a less wet line. And this is immense. This is really, really, really fantastic. 3, 2, 1. I'm kidding. Okay, this is fantastic. This is really, really, really wet. Wet and flex, and wow, I really love this pen. Once again, here we have it again, these two Kaweco Dia. I paid €4 for each of them. I needed a bottle of wine for each of them because I needed the cork. And of course I only use corks once. Every time I have to replace a piston cork, I'm just going to open a €4 bottle of wine. So each of these pens actually has cost me about €8. They are definitely worth it. Fantastic. Great writers. Both, it's amazing. Even the oblique broad has almost no feedback at all. The gold nib is fantastic. There's it just gliding over the paper. You can see I love this pens. I hope you can see why I love this pens. And if you ever have a chance to get one of these, either restored or not restored from eBay or whatever, get one. They're definitely worth it. Even if I haven't completely restored one of these two yet, so that's why I have a little bit of blue hands here. But never mind. It's not that much work. Get one of these. They are great, best value. There's not much. There's nothing. No better pen for the money. Really, there isn't. All right. See you. Bye bye.